Music Golden Age Hollywood was a realm of light where leading men had to become giants, tall, broad-shouldered, and overwhelming the frame the moment they stepped into it. But the truth behind the scenes was shocking. Some stars forced entire crews to dig half-meter trenches to hide how small they looked. Some legends were entangled in same-sex affairs with towering co-stars, setting off public uproar. Some even grew so desperate they turned to the surgeon's knife to lengthen their legs. These sleights of hand fooled audiences for decades. So which Golden Age leading men lived off those tricks? And when The Secret came out, were they still hailed as legends, or did they pay with their honor and careers? Let's begin with the first name, Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas, the undersized warrior haunted by height for life. In the sweltering summer of 1960, the Spartacus set at Universal Studios felt like a real battlefield. Over 300 extras in gleaming armor lined up under the California sun waiting for the cue. Stanley Kubrick, the young director, kept shouting, "Cut!" Not for bad acting, but because one detail irked him. Kirk Douglas playing the rebel leader looked diminutive among the Roman guards escorting him. According to a lighting technician quoted in the Los Angeles Times, Kubrick had the ground dug out, so the extras would stand lower, while the camera was set at a low angle to elevate Douglas. The technician sneered, "Why is the whole world idolizing a man who's only a few inches taller than a crew hand?" Douglas was 5 feet 8, 1.73 music average. American height then, but in 1950s to 60s, Hollywood, the leading man-babe bar hovered near 6th War, 83 music. The Chicago Tribune quipped how imposing is a gladiator who has to look up at his comrades. Those jibes made Douglas increasingly quick. During a poster shoot for Champion 1949, the photographer casually suggested a booster box. Douglas slammed his gloves to the floor and barked, "Do you take me for a joke?" Then stormed out, forcing a postponement. His private life was turbulent, too. Rumors of loud romances and never-proven scandals trailed him for decades. Yet, he did what Hollywood avoided. He publicly restored the on-screen credit of Dalton Trumbo, blacklisted by the WAC, as the writer of Spartacus. That choice cost him with producers, but the New York Times praised. The small warrior challenged the system. Despite controversies, Douglas kept his standing. When he received an honorary Oscar in 1996, the room rose to its feet. Roger Ebert wrote, "He wasn't taller than his peers, but that night, Douglas was the biggest man in Hollywood." If Douglas needed lensing to project force, another star of the era relied on a more literal lift under his feet. That man was Humphrey Bogart. 2. Humphrey Bogart, the Casablanca hero who lived by a wooden box. January 1942, on the Warner Bros. Set of Casablanca. Michael Kurtz was ready to film the iconic scene at Rick's Cafe. Ingrid Bergman, in heels, stood near 59 1.75. To Bogart, in reality was around 56 57 1. Side by side, the height gap popped. Curtis snapped, "Get the platform in now." A square wooden box slid under Bogart's feet and the frame suddenly balanced. From then on, the crew jokingly called it the Bogart box. The box followed him 4 years from Casablanca to the Big Sleep. A lighting tech told Photoplay, "Even for medium shots, he likes standing on it." Bogey hated the thing, but without it, the difference showed. Variety once joked, Bogey travels with a suitcase, not for clothes, but to hide the box. On To Have and Have Not, he was teased, kicked the box aside, and growled, "Bring me a drink. I don't need a box." The tales became legend. Warner Brothers tried cover PR sheets, listed Bogart at 510. Interviews were staged so he'd sit higher. A Life editor admitted, "I never stood next to him on level ground." Audiences never suspected a thing. Pauline Kael wrote in The New Yorker, "When Bogart enters a room, you feel his presence before you register his size." With cinematic sleight of hand, Hollywood turned a shorter-than-standard man into an emblem of indomitable masculinity. But not everyone settled for a box. Some chose a subtler, riskier, fix elevator shoes. Frank Sinatra was the textbook case. 3. Frank Sinatra, the Myatid king in elevator shoes. On June 12, 1951, the New York Post dropped a bombshell. Frank Sinatra had ordered a dozen pairs of elevator shoes from Delmonico's in Manhattan. These weren't standard shoes. They were bespoke, each pair adding 2 in 5 Samir. Shop. Owner confided to reporter John Daly that Sinatra even asked for hollowed soles to insert lead so the weight felt normal, avoiding a floaty walk audiences might mock. Within hours the story ricocheted through New York nightclubs, turning into a running gag that shadowed his career. Sinatra was 57 to 170 g. Dinner in life, but in a Hollywood of men topping 6th, he was instantly the short guy. The sting was that his slight frame clashed with his explosive personality and messy private life. In 1953, his marriage to Ava Gardner became tabloid catnip. During a fight at a Beverly Hills hotel, Sinatra shattered a mirror, blood soaking his sleeve. Witnesses later told the Los Angeles Times that Gardner taunted he could never reach the top kitchen shelf. The media feasted, welding small man to insecure man. By 1966, Sinatra married Mia Farrow, just 21, 3 decades his junior and 2 in taller. A Beverly Hills street shot of the couple drew a snide Los Angeles Times caption. The tall and the small. The public snickered, but Sinatra tried to swallow the humiliation by taking hard-edged roles like The Detective 1968 to prove manhood isn't measured in inches. His biggest storms, though, came not from marriages or height, but from mafia ties. Thick FBI files place him in Havana in 1947 at a party with mob boss Lucky Luciano. Time magazine wrote bluntly, he often toasts with devils. In Las Vegas, club owners whispered they were forced to sign Sinatra or see their lounges mysteriously smashed days later. In 1970, an NBC investigative segment even claimed Sinatra slipped in lifts before walking on stage, a ritual armor against his shortcomings. Journalist Howard K. Smith dubbed him the average-sized man with the greatest clout in American entertainment. From a trembling singer in elevators, Sinatra morphed into a backroom boss who made Hollywood and Vegas alike tread carefully. The story ends in paradox. A 57-man casting a shadow across America from stage to screen to backroom showdowns. And just as audiences reeled at that image, Hollywood lobbed another shock. The beloved clown Charlie Chaplin was rumored to be addicted to very young women. 4. Charlie Chaplin, the small clown, and his fixation on young girls. On November 25, 1924, the Los Angeles Times devoted a full page to Charlie Chaplin's secret wedding to Lita Gray. Only 16. The headline chilled Hollywood's darkest wedding. The ceremony rushed across the border in Mexico because California law could have seen Chaplin prosecuted for relations with a minor. A San Francisco Chronicle reporter later wrote in his memoir, when the news broke, Hollywood went off like a bomb. Whispers everywhere. How could a global icon sink into this at 5 feet 5? Chaplin's height never hindered him on screen, as he made audiences laugh and weep, dissolving any thought of his small frame. Off-screen, though, rumors painted an out-of-crawl sex addict. FBI files declassified in 1952 recorded Chaplin had relations with over 2,000 women in 3 decades. Many under-20 agents tailed him from hotels in Los Angeles and Miami to London. A tour-chilling note read, Chaplin exploits a childlike aura to approach underage girls. The real explosion came in 1943, when Joan Barry, an unknown actress, hauled Chaplin into a Santa Monica courtroom, claiming her child was the blood of the famous clown. Court turned into a circus. Reporters jammed sidewalks, flashbulbs popping. The Los Angeles Examiner blared the Little in Big Trouble. Blood tests indicated Chaplin wasn't the father, yet the court still ordered support, inflaming public fury. The kindly clown image collapsed on the very stage he'd built. Rumors kept rolling. In the late 1930s, scandal sheets like Hollywood Mirror reported Chaplin haunting nightclubs with groups of girls under 18. Some journalists described him in his bowler hat ringed by teens, still in school uniforms. Though never proven, the tag predator, in a bowler hat, spread a specter dogging his career. The contrast turned bitter on screen. The small, lovable drifter stirred compassion worldwide. Off-screen, many saw a hunter of young girls driven by an unstoppable impulse. That tension kept the public talking, whether in admiration or outrage. Chaplin proved a man can be short, while the darkness behind him grows large enough to swallow a legend. That very darkness opens the door to our next story. Mickey Rooney, 5. Mickey Rooney, the 52 star sunk by 8 broken marriages. For 3 straight years, 1939 to 1941, Mickey Rooney's name ruled American box offices. MGM called him the Golden Goose, with Andy Hardy receipts outgunning Clark Gable and Gary Cooper. Yet too many, he was the schoolboy who never grew up. At 5'2", he was so small that a Chicago Tribune reporter sneered, Hollywood bet millions on a boy who barely reaches a woman's shoulder. Rooney's private life truly riveted the public. He married 8 times, leaving a wake of stormy unions. His first marriage in 1942 to Ava Gardner quickly became a joke. Gardner, just into her 20s, tall, blazing, made Rooney look miniature. Photoplay splashed beauty and the small man. It lasted a year. Gardner divorced him, and at Beverly Hills parties reportedly quipped that Rooney was small not only in life but in other respects. The line spread fast. One of the era's most mortifying Hollywood whispers, he married 7 more times. Model, singers, dancers, most ending in suits, splits, and debt.